Hey, it's Adrian Hernandez in the Sporting Tribune, and I promise you the smile on my face is not manufactured. I'm a bit excited for multiple reasons. Number one, wrestling has invaded Southern California. Tomorrow at the Forum, we got Rampage and Collision. AEW's in town. And then Saturday night, we will be in the building for Full Gear. And joining us is one of the biggest signings in AEW history, Adam Copeland. Adam, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. And here's the thing. This year, I've been really focused on giving people roses, like while they're still living, while they can still smell them. You know what I'm saying? So bear with me. I'm going to need to take you back to 2011, and I'm not doing this to make either one of us feel old. So that was freshman year of college.
Okay.
Get to school. You're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I get a Pell Grant. No one told me that they just deposit $3,500 into your bank account. In school, they didn't really tell you how to manage that money. What did I do? I lived like a king your Hall of Fame weekend in Miami. It was a wonderful weekend up until a couple weeks when rent was due. But still, we lived like kings for that weekend. So, Adam, thank you for that.
I'm glad I could be a part of that, man.
Yeah. I was like, well, what else am I going to spend this money on? Nothing else makes sense. Rent, save it? Absolutely not. So look, you've been in AEW. It's been about 6 or 7 weeks, coming up on 2 months. And, it's a new era for you. It's the Adam Copeland era. It's yourself. How's that been?
It took some getting used to at first to hear Adam Copeland and kind of wrap my mind around that, because you get so used to something, especially after 25 years, right? I mean, for me personally, like I've always just introduced myself as Adam. Edge was a character I played on TV. It just so happens that now the character I play is named my legit name. But also, this incarnation isn't really that far removed from me. Obviously, you turn up the volume on those things, but even since I came back in 2020, I've been pretty transparent with the fact that what you're getting out there is just this guy who wanted to do this in his entire life, had it pulled away, got it back. There's not really so much character anymore. It's just the real life story, because it was so out there, the reality of the situation, that it was really hard to try and put character on top of it. Cause I tried with Judgment Day. It just wasn't going to work, because everyone knows the story now, knows the real life elements to the story. And, I think people just want to see me go out there and just have fun. And that's a pretty simple thing for me to do, because again, I'm doing the only thing I ever wanted to do.
No, absolutely. And, before we fully get into AEW, the one thing I wanted to ask you, because I've kind of been split, is your final night. You get to do it in Toronto, your hometown, in the arena of your favorite team. Like if someone told me I'm from Cleveland, I get to do my final radio show in the arena that I grew up in, and the team's giving me a jersey. My ring attire is maple leaves. Like, that's amazing. Yeah. But also, I'm gonna be honest with you, there's part of me to be like, wait a minute, this guy's a legend. He needs the WrestleMania treatment. Was it like, I don't care about that, I'm doing it in front of my people? Or was it just the timing? Or did you think about that at all?
I've said from day one, if I want to retire in Toronto, it didn't matter to me if it's WrestleMania. I've been on 15 of them. You know what I mean? And to be honest, a WrestleMania crowd is usually a lot of corporate businesses, business meetings happening,
It's like the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want that wrestling crowd, if you want that emotion, that's what I wanted. And that's what Toronto always brings for me. So I get to get in there with Shamo, who I'd never shared a ring with, and all that time in a one-on-one match, knowing what him and I could do at this stage in our careers. Oh, come on, all day. That to me, I couldn't ask for a better way to end my career there. I really couldn't. Like you said, a Maple Leafs Edge co-branded T-shirt, my family there, all my friends there, it just against a guy like that, and to have the kind of match we did, I'm really proud of that one. So yeah, that to me, the place was always the most important.
And like, to be fair, it was beautiful. It brought a twinkle in my eye. Like, I was like, it got emotional at the end, and it went out good. And the other thing I'm curious about is, obviously you've been in this business a long time, and to me, doing sports, it's kind of been baffling these past couple of years to be like, okay, there's post game press conferences, there's media calls, there's much more like media involvement. Again, thank you for the time, Adam. And like, even the free agency news, you had to go through it. It's like the NBA or the NHL free agency offseason talk, like all of this talk, and like the transformation, because it wasn't like this 10 years ago even.
Sure.
Like, how's that been for you?
It's interesting, just in terms of, I guess what you like, how people have like almost a brand allegiance. Is that like, or a team allegiance kind of thing? For me, like, I knew there was going to be some fan base and switching companies that, oh, he's a traitor, but man, nobody's a traitor. We left on great terms. And for me, here's how I look at it. Like, Paul Newman did movies for Paramount. He also did movies for MGM. Did you not watch them because they were MGM and you have this really, really like strong opinion about Paramount film? Like, that's what we're talking about here, right? Like, for me, I'm doing all I ever wanted to do, and I'm getting a chance to do it again after I was told I would never do it again. I get to do it with my best friend. I get to look at a whole new roster of opponents. That to me is exciting. And to be able to get as excited as I am at 50 years old, why wouldn't I do that? You know what I mean? I look at the roster and I go, Miro, hell yeah. Moxley, you kidding me? Omega, Swerve, like you get in there with Danielson, just Claudio, just all these names. I'm getting a team with Sting. Like, we never shared a ring before, and I'm getting to share ring time with Darby and get in there with guys like Nick Wayne and Luchasaurus, and hopefully they can build off of this. And that to me, it's really exciting. I have a limited time to be able to do this thing, and I wanted to go as hard as I could while I can. And there's something to be said for coming every 3 months and all of that, and it's easier on the body for sure. But I just wanted to get in as much as I could while I could.
Listen, Adam, that passion is like, that gets me excited, because that's how I view the things that I do. And it's cool to see, because obviously, some people get burned out, and 25 years is a long time. And you've gone through like that roller coaster, that up and down, the ups and downs. I do. And also, like, even, I know you've talked about how you talk to your kids, and they're like, Dad, do what makes you happy, which is like, my son's 4 years old. I hope I'm raising him right for him to have that thought process when it comes to me. But then also, like, you shoot the vignette that played before you came out in Seattle, and the unplanned Seattle Mariners fireworks go off to like make this picture perfect. Like, when you saw that footage, because obviously it was not planned, were you kind of like, yeah, the universe is telling me that I'm doing the right thing? Without pardon the interruption on the interview, real quick, we have to show some love to the people that are helping make this content possible. ZipChair and ZipChairGaming.com. Holiday season is here, y'all. If you want to go extra on the gift, get all the brownie points, and really come up clutch this holiday season, I have a suggestion. ZipChair.com. Go there, find your partner or yourself, whoever, the perfect chair for their office, their gaming area, their cubicle, whatever the case. Or you want the recliner, you want the bar stool, you want the man cave for the house to really get the perfect thing, to really seal in the best man cave in the neighborhood. ZipChair.com. Use that discount code Adrian to save yourself 10%. And hey, if your partner has a favorite team, why don't you slap on the team's logo on it? With ZipChair, it's possible. Customizable from the logos to the comfortability. And as a big guy, it has the XXL seal of approval. ZipChairGaming.com. Use that discount code Adrian.
Well, and also just that night, I cold called Darby and I'm like, hey, you're a Seattle guy, right? Well, by the way, I'm coming to AEW. And here's what I want to do. Yeah. And here's what I want to do. He's like, oh, cool, man. So, I fly in, I'll, secret and everything. He meets me at the airport, and me, him, and Giancarlo, our camera guy, we just went out and guerrilla filmed this thing. He knew locations because he's a local guy, and got me an old GTO. And I hadn't driven a stick in a while, so that was fun. And
it was nice too, my friend.
It was, right? And then he's out in between cars. He's tagging the street, rated R. It's like, what are we doing? This is awesome. And we're flying drones and everything. It was so fun. And it took me back to like the feelings I had when I first got into this thing, when you really had to create your own momentum, create your own vision, create your own, like you had to be so hands-on with it. And that's what this feels like. And that, for a guy like me, I'm always thinking of the creative. I'm always thinking of the visual. I'm always thinking of the audio. I'm thinking of every part of what happens in a story. I'm thinking of the package and how we can edit it together before the pay-per-view. And I'm building in those moments in matches. I'm building in those moments in promos so that they can be used later. So to be able to be a part, really hands-on with all of that, for a guy like me, wired the way I am, it's fun.
It's like you're getting me excited. This is like a locker room speech, bro. I'm getting, because presentation is so key. And like whatever we do, I think it's very important with what I'm doing right now. And when you talk about that night as well, I do want to ask you, in comparison to your other debuts, your returns, you've had a lot of spectacular ones. Like, how did that night in Seattle compare to the others?
Well, this one was just so different, right? I feel like I became the king of the comeback, almost to the point of parody, where it's like, okay, I come back every 3 months. So every time I come back, it's almost like a comeback, right? This was coming back to be back. And I think that was what the difference was, whether anybody knew that at the time, but this was coming back to be there, to be full-time, to try and create as many stories as I can while I can with all of these talents that I've never laid hands on before. You know, that night was the first night I shared a ring with Darby, first night I shared a ring with Luchasaurus, first night I shared a ring with Nick Wayne, with Sting, all in my debut. I mean, and so far I've not wrestled someone that I've wrestled before. You know, I got in with the Righteous and Lance Archer the other night. That's fun. You know, I'm in there with all of these different characters, and I don't know. It's just exciting, man. You know, at 50 years old, at this stage of my career, to have a wide open blank slate in front of me. I think anyone who's truly, really involved in the creative process and also really still loves what they do exactly the same thing I did.
Do you think that, you know, obviously you were forced to retire, and, you know, I've listened to the podcast and you've said how an Omega match, I think it was like 2017, that kind of reignited the fire. Obviously we're armchair quarterbacking this with this question, so pardon me, but do you think because you went through that and you're getting to do something that you were never told you'd never be able to do again, that kind of like, you're like, no. If I have this much time left, I'm going 150% because I don't want to have no what ifs in my mind about what I did in my career.
Well, I guess that's just it, right? You know, I know that the time is limited, and when you reach a certain point in a certain place and you both kind of realize together, that might be it. But I look over here and there's Omega. And there's Okada occasionally, who was the other guy involved in that match that I was like, whoa, okay. There's just so many different possibilities. And again, a blank slate in terms of that roster, and looking at it and looking at, you know, Jay White, and looking at, you know, MJF, and looking at like Adam Cole when he's back, and, you know, Keith Lee and Malachi Black and House of Black, and teaming with FTR. Dude, I just told you like 3 years worth of programming just in the names I've mentioned alone. And I've touched none of them. And I've touched none of them. Like, if people, like, if they don't understand why I did what I did, I mean, there's your answer. You know, I still really love this, and I want to do as much as I can in different ways. That's one thing I've always appreciated about with Chris Jericho, is he doesn't do what he's, supposed to do. He does what he thinks is going to be challenging and different and, stimulating as a performer. I get that. I 100% get that.
Well, it's kind of like if you think that you've mastered something, that's like the day that you lost, because there's always someone out there who's aiming for that spot, whatever it is, like in anything, life, whatever your job is, whatever you're passionate towards. And I know we only have a few more minutes with you. So again, Adam Copeland joining us, and you can join him at the Kia Forum this weekend. Friday night, we got Collision and Rampage, a double feature of sorts. And then Saturday night, cannot wait, AEW Full Gear. Get your tickets, AEWtix.com. Wow, this has been incredible. Adam, let's do a couple more. Darby Allin, obviously you called him up. You have a relationship. You're teaming with him. I'm going to be honest with you. That WrestleDream match, I thought he died like 3 times. He wrestles. He wrestles like he watches your TLC matches every day for his entire life. Have you told him to chill out sometimes? Because it's nuts.
So here's the deal. I told him to chill out, right? And I was like, I don't want to be one of those guys like back in my day. He goes, back in your day, you jumped face first through a flaming table. I'm like, yeah, there's that. Right. So what can I say, man? I get it. I get, he is distinctly his own thing, and his own thing is really cool. Sometimes you can't try and stop that. It just has to happen. And he's just one of those guys. Like, he's going to go climb Everest soon, and he's never mountain climbed before. Like, who does that? Right. Well, Darby does. And I realized, that's just it. Like, if there's a slogan I need for him, it's, Darby does. And I love it about him.
No, that's incredible. And, this entire time I've mentioned like that I love your passion and just the way that you're talking about everything that you're involved in. And the cool thing is that you're in the perfect place where this company literally has the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. All of these things that weren't necessarily possible before are possible. I know you've brought up, hey, I could go to the Tokyo Dome. I could do G1. I could do this. In a perfect world with the time that you have left, how does this play out, and what's the ultimate goal for you?
Oh, man, it's that I honestly, I don't know if I have that mapped out, and I'd like to.
Is it just as many experiences as possible, like that type of thing?
I think that's kind of where I'm at, is really just get in there with as much different talent as I can and experience, what all of those different talents bring to the table and what I can bring to them. And I don't know, that's just exciting, man. And even like I said, doing that, filming that with Darby, and then getting a team with Sting and Darby, and working already like just brand new opponents that I've never touched before. And maybe the Tokyo Dome and Arena Mexico, and getting in there with Omega sounds really fun. And who knows, maybe we do a show in Maple Leaf Gardens, the old Maple Leaf Gardens. And that sounds pretty damn cool. It's just, there's a lot of things that could be really, really fun. And I think more than anything, that's all this is, hey, I'm getting to have one hell of a time doing the only thing I ever wanted to do, with a lot of freedom at the tail end of my career with an entire new set of opponents.
No, it's a beautiful thing. And before we get you out of here, I know in Canada, you guys just call it a regular Thursday, but here in America coming up, we have Thanksgiving. So I have to ask you, Adam, what are you thankful for, my friend?
Dude, all of it. Honestly, like I wake up every day realizing how great my life is, and I feel bad saying it sometimes, or almost egotistical.
Yeah.
But I wake up and I get the girls up for school along with Beth, and we get them, ready for school, and we take them to school, and then we run the drama club at their school, and then I'll fly out as we do. It's hilarious. And then
dad goals,
man, and then I work out in my gym, and I get my cold plunge, and I sit in my sauna, and I'm just like, I'm sitting in my library now where I got like way too many books, and I sit on my rocking chair and I read and watch the sunset over the mountains. Maybe I'll have a little shot of scotch here and there. I get to watch the Maple Leafs. I'm married to Beth Phoenix, for God's sakes. Like, come on.
I love it.
Life's damn good. And I know it, and I don't take it for granted. So, and even in getting this second chapter of my career, I just understand that like it wasn't supposed to happen, and I don't look past any of it. I appreciate all of it.
No, it's amazing. And I'm sorry, Adam, one more because we didn't talk about dad stuff. And I need your advice real quick. So my son's 5 years old, showed him wrestling a year ago, took him to his first show. About 3 weeks ago, I got a phone call that during recess, a kid took the ball that he was playing with. And from what I saw from their cameras that they had outside, he basically clotheslined the kid to get the ball back.
Yeah.
Am I on the right path to being a good father, sir?
Yeah, it's tough, man, because like, and that is not in response to your question, by the way. All I can say is, when I was a kid and I first saw wrestling, I wanted to do it. I mean, that's what my brain wanted to do. But then I also watched, the Ninja Turtles movie, and I started trying to do karate kicks. I mean, it's always going to be something. I think more than anything for me as a dad, anytime I've sat down to watch something with the girls, and also girls and boys are way different, especially at this age, but is just have that conversation with them and understand like, hey, it looks really cool, but they're really trained and they're playing characters, that whole thing. But for a 5-year-old brain, might not be able to compute that yet. So I don't know what to tell you, man.
Hey, listen, his spirit's kind of nice. I'm just saying, his spirit's nice. We keep it in the bed. Anyway, we'll talk about this later. Adam, it's a career highlight of mine to be able to get to talk to you. And just keep kicking ass, my friend.
I'll keep trying.
There it is. Perfect. Without pardon the interruption on the interview, real quick, we have to show some love to the people that are helping make this content possible. ZipChair and ZipChairGaming.com. Holiday season is here, y'all. If you want to go extra on the gift, get all the brownie points, and really come up clutch this holiday season, I have a suggestion. ZipChair.com. Go there, find your partner or yourself, whoever, the perfect chair for their office, their gaming area, their cubicle, whatever the case. Or you want the recliner, you want the bar stool, you want the man cave for the house to really get the perfect thing, to really seal in the best man cave in the neighborhood. ZipChair.com. Use that discount code Adrian to save yourself 10%. And hey, if your partner has a favorite team, why don't you slap on the team's logo on it? With ZipChair, it's possible. Customizable from the logos to the comfortability. And as a big guy, it has the XXL seal of approval. ZipChairGaming.com. Use that discount code Adrian.